To the EPRN YouTube viewers, how have you been? It has been so long without a talk. So today we'll going back in published papers from EPRN to this book entitled Paper Working Series. We're going to focus on the second paper which has been presented to the role of digital solution in economic resilience of growth during COVID-19 pandemic in Rwanda. So we are with our guest. He's a man who worked on this paper. Let us welcome him. Yes, as I mentioned, we are with a guest who is going to tell us about the paper they published. But before starting our session, I would like him to introduce himself and who is he in general and what is the topic by which they did mention in the paper. So you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Mbabazi Nayo Christian. I am EPRN member and I'm an economist and a researcher. Currently, doing as an operations manager in a company, domestic company, Cora Coaching Group Limited, which has a subsidiary, Cora Coaching and Business Academy. We're doing the training, personal online training or company for leadership and different, depending on the research of the demand of the clients. Going back to the topic we did, the role was it is the role of digital solutions in economic resilience and growth during COVID-19 pandemic in Rwanda.
So if I got you very well, you did mention the role of digital solution in economic resilience, growth, and during COVID-19 pandemic in Rwanda. So it comes me to ask you this question. What is it about your paper? Why this subject?
Yeah, thank you. As we all know that in 2020 there was a pandemic on worldwide, so that this coronavirus, which destabilizes everything in every sector, either social, economic, and everywhere. Now, EPRN started to do a call of application so that everybody who is interested to do that research, they can do something, because we were stuck in every way. Government has said that there are some restriction on the different activities because of this spread of the pandemic. Reason why they say, okay, we can put some activities apart and we remain only with the necessary activities. Now, what we did, we said, okay, because there was a list of area where the researchers can concentrate or do some research. We, as my colleague, one is Dr. Fidel Mutemberezi, another is Kamukunzi Dominique, and I, we say, okay, we can take this advantage to this one and we create something which is relevant to the society and even in Rwanda. That's why we say, how can we say that if we still need some payment to be done, we still need money in everyday transaction or something, we say, okay, now we can do the role of digital solutions in economic resilience and growth during this time, during COVID-19. And we see that's how we can now continue to survive.
Yeah. So if I got you well, this theme has been developed after this pandemic been raised. So what is the solution this topic is raising, or what the problem is raising, and in order to, what are the main solution that this topic is trying to highlight?
Yeah, thank you. It's like methodology. We say that before COVID pandemic and after or during, how we as a person, how the people are behaving. Then we say, okay, let's take three elements or three variables. One is mobile banking, the second is mobile money, and the third is internet banking. Then you say, some people are registered and others are not registered. Some people are registered and they don't use it. And why now can we have an opportunity to do this? And we take opportunity to get data from central bank, and we find that one, for transactions, and second, for values. For instance, for mobile banking, the transactions have been increased by 53% in quarter two. You remember that in Rwanda, the COVID or the lockdown and these restrictions started in March.
Yes.
But we compared the first quarter of 2020, which is January to March, and from April to June. Then we compared those data, and we now found that there is some impact. If I go back, on mobile banking, the transactions increased by 53%, comparing the two quarters, quarter one and quarter two. And the value of mobile banking has increased by 218%. You understand now that because we were not allowed to touch many things, even money. So people, they moved to online solution. In internet banking, normally many people don't use internet banking, and because of the transaction has been somehow the business have not been very good, and we see that there was a decrease there in internet banking. There was a decrease of 2%, but the value of those who are still using it has been also increased by 9%. When we go to mobile money, we find that the transactions have increased by 58% in the same period, quarter one and quarter two in 2020. But the value also increased also by 151%. You understand now that digital solution was were the solution for this period.
So Rwanda as a country in a development way, by mentioning the digitalization, it seems as is tackling one part of the Rwandan citizens, because not all Rwandans can afford this digitalization platform. So while you were measuring, how have been the involvement of those little peasants to this digitalization?
Thank you. I can refer to the national program. You know, this national strategy for transformation, NST1. We have 3 pillars that we have to work on it, and we try to obey and try to implement. You know, there is economic transformation pillar, there is social, and there is government transformation pillar. In this economic transformation pillar, it was where even all of them, they are based on education, digital economy based on education, where we need to learn and to develop ourselves, so that if a person is developed and is using the policy, or is implementing the policy from the government, it's where we shall now get a positive impact. Now, in Rwanda, we don't have a lot of resources, and you know that GDP per capita is still low, but there is sensitization. Every authority has to say, okay, please try to do this and try to make how this can be improved. Yes, there are some persons who are not using this because of either mentality, mindset, and say, no, I don't have this, I don't want this, I don't have money to do this, and you know that even our purchasing property is still being at lower level, but there is a consistent follow-up, so that we can move from one side to the second side. Yeah.
So when I was reading the paper you wrote, there are places where you did mention this automatization and robotics. So how has it been a solution to this pandemic post recovery? if ever there is?
Yeah, I think that the person or some people who are still using these this program, this policy to pay using the digital solution, they see that there is a positive way, because they cannot go back to say, okay, please, I don't have the system is not working, so let's go back to use the coins and notes or banknotes, because nowadays everywhere you can go, there is a code to pay. You can use internet banking, and banks also are still uh, asking their or requesting their client to come to the digital banking, so that now even those robotics or something, they will be adding value to the digital solution.
Are you, if ever I got you well, you said that they'll be adding a solution on this post-COVID recovery. And as I see, when as much as long as robotics are involved, manpower reduce. And when manpower reduce, there is unemployment. And when there's unemployment, people suffer because they don't have what to do. So isn't it a hinder to the employment of Rwandan citizens?
That is an interesting question. When you have a policy, sometimes it's say on by one hand it is like that, on by the other hand it is like that. Using IT in activity in business, it will reduce the number of staff, but those number of staff will be changing or will be going to shift to the other activities. Let's say if the bank or anywhere they deliver services, they say, okay, we need now to automate some services, and the department where they have some people will shift or will not be allowed to do that. Now, as we still learn, those persons who are not allowed to continue to do the business, they have to go and search and read or do something which is in the line of digital, because we cannot. The world is improving. We don't going back to the the back system. As we are still developing, we need to try to understand why digital solution is interesting. And sometimes you can now understand that there can be some risks or some problems with the digital solution or IT. This time, not continue to continue to working with the companies or the government in their normal way. They can be involved in security of those transactions. But yes, it's correct. There is a level of unemployment on that exact time, but they can be involved in other activities which will now be interesting to do in digital also activities. Yeah.
So thank you very much. After you answering this question, it bring me to the e-commerce. Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution of e-commerce vis-a-vis this post-COVID recovery? How this e-commerce is it being implemented, and what helps or what contribution is it giving it on this digital solution recovering, solving those problems caused by this pandemic?
Yeah, thank you. E-commerce has been applied in developed countries most of the time on previously, but with this COVID pandemic, we see that it is possible now, because these social medias, Twitter, WhatsApp, or Instagram, and others. Some people now are doing some businesses, and they post on their accounts. And if you have an account on one of the social media, you will see that this thing is available, this services is available, this I can buy this good, and now you can even go order, because I see that some of the businesses women or women, men, they try to post, and if you have an account, let's say is your colleague, is your friend, and you see that he's posting that he's now selling some shoes or some clothes, and so okay, I can see that this is my friend who can do this, so I can now go, I can order. There's even this free delivery, this for the food or like the other things, and you can see now that there is a lockdown where the restaurants were not allowed to host guests or customers, but they operate and they are allowed only to deliver. So now you're working from home and you don't have someone to assist you or cooking. You order and you pay or you buy and they deliver to you and continue, and you get your service or your goods. And it is very possible, and it requires a consistent follow-up so that people can now understand why e-commerce or e-business, and we can shift from the ordinary system to the digital mechanism.
So while passing through the published paper on the role of digital solution in economic resilience and growth during COVID pandemic in Rwanda, you did tackle many aspects where you did mention even infrastructure. So here comes my question: how this digitalization comes as a solution in the infrastructure evolution? Because you've been mentioning about these transactions, mobile bankings. So how comes the digitalization plays a role in the infrastructure evolution?
Yeah, thank you. If I go back to the definition of economics, economics is a social science which deals with allocation of limited resources to satisfy unlimited needs. In social science, there is society and there is also applied sciences. In society, in science, the applied sciences. Now, those companies who have an account or who are operating, they will also need to get money. They will have to pay their employees or their suppliers. Now, how will they now pay? Either you are in agriculture, you are in tourism, you are in every sector, you will need an account to pay. Now, I can also refer to the robotics we were saying before, that now those infrastructure, they can install some robotics to continue their businesses. Some, not all, but some activities can be done like that. Because I remember that previously, like last week, I went somewhere to request a service, and there was a system where they were testing my favor. No one is there, just to see that if it is correct. Now, with these digital solutions, as we were concentrating on these three parameters, only the mobile banking, internet banking, and mobile money, it has been possible that we can continue to add us. But in research, you just understand or you highlight only some few elements, and others they can also do other things which has not been tackled. But infrastructure, agriculture, every single activity, it can itself find itself in this digital solution, because everywhere you will need money to pay or to buy. That's why with these three elements we did, we find that we can now understand that we can connect to any sector.
Yes. Still on this question, if I got you very well, you just mentioning these transactions about the practicability of this infrastructure evolution. But let me saying on practical way, not transaction way, because when it's all about infrastructure, let me saying there is the evolution. I don't know if ever something need to be implemented, not the how, but its practicability. So let me saying how this digitalization, despite the transaction you've been mentioning, how this digitalization is it being applicable in those handiwork infrastructure implementation, if you got me very well.
Yeah. This it is somehow difficult to say yes or no, but it depends on their managers, because some they prefer to pay either using the banknote and the coins or using these digital solutions. Now, this was a general overview or general perspectives, but those also who are still using, because it is not right that everyone now is using this digital solution, not correct, but some are using this and other are not yet, but with the time they will understand now that it is possible now to do that, to come to digital solution or digital implementation. Yeah, but it's correct that some companies are still using the ordinary.
Yeah, we are about to go to the end. If ever you did mention this practicability of transactions, digital solution in economic resilience, and its growth, of course, during this COVID-19, what has been your recommendations while you were writing this paper? I think there's something which is there, but also there are recommendations for it to be more practical, or for it to accelerate more, because I think the level by which it is, if ever it grows, to be better to the ordinary one. So what has been your recommendation?
Thank you. The first recommendation is for everyone to understand why digital solution is interesting or it is important, because we don't know really when this COVID-19 pandemic will be ended. Now, if we continue this way, because it can take time to come back to the normal standards, but everybody can now understand why digital solution is important. Now, we pay, we use, we register, we leave these banknotes and coins, because I don't know really the cost of banknotes. Only you can understand, or you can request the information in the central bank, but it is costly. But if that cost of making banknotes and coins is saved, it can be used to other things. And this government program, national government program of NST1, as I mentioned before, there is a policy that they need, that Rwanda can evaluate, can come from one side to the other side in growth. Now, private sector, public sector, they need to understand why digital solution is interesting, and they try now to train their employees, their partners, stakeholders, so that they can now understand why we can shift from the previous way to the digital solution. And I think we will be getting the opportunities in this digital solution. Remember last week, the University of Rwanda, they have a graduation online. It is possible. We can make something which is possible online, rather than waiting the physical either meeting or physical transactions, or those face-to-face things can be now reduced.
So if I got you very well, you are mentioning about the digitalization transactions, and nowadays the world is facing, I will be saying, a new introduction of cryptocurrencies with these bitcoins and other things. For your perspective, do you think that, as you see as an economist, do you think it should be something to be legalized in this country, just in the case of reducing these notes, circulation and kind of things?
you for the good question. I don't have really enough information to say yes we can do or no we cannot do, but that is how cryptocurrency is, because one time can go up and one time can go down.
Yeah.
So now it is on high level to say, okay, we can apply this or not. But on my side, I need also
Check.
enough time to read and understand, because it is not TikTok thinks, oh, it's fine, go, or we don't do that. Yeah.
So as an economist, you say it's still something to just check very well without hurrying?
On my side, I can
Yes.
say that's why I don't have also that information to say yes, because I'm still need to understand what is that, because the policy which affects the country, you have to be
Careful.
careful. That's why we have some policy makers, have analysts, they understand now, they read and say, okay, we can do this or we cannot do that. But I think they have to review very well. Yeah, as you remember, in the East African community, we need to have a common currency. Why we can understand why you don't have a common currency? Because there's still a process to review, to study, to check, to see everything which affect a government or a global society. It's better to make sure that it is very good.
So I've been mentioning it. It was a second paper on the role of digital solution in economic resilience and growth during COVID-19 pandemic in Rwanda. And I would like to thank Christian. We have a really interesting conversation, and I hope that the next time that we will invite you for any other topic, I think you will be ready to respond to our calls.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah. So as I've been mentioning it before, this is EPRN YouTube channel. Once you go to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and like. And if ever you're interested also, it's better to share to many people as you can, for many people to have knowledge that you got to EPRN YouTube channel. So let's call it a day. Let's see us next time. Thank you very much.